Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, 12th of January 2022, our second program here today from this year. And today, Rodrigo is with us.
Hello.
So good to have you all here. And I hope this finds you well. Let's go to our initial presentation. Today's topic is, what does moral law mean? It's an important topic. We're talking about here entire book from the four books of the Spirit's book. This entire book dedicated to study the moral laws. Okay, so good evening, my friends, and let's start from the girl with the girls, with the ladies, with the ladies. Let's start with the ladies. Miss Gibbons, you gave a wonderful smile, so please keep going.
Then you said girls, and I thought, oh, how nice. Hello, good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be here again. And once more, this is a very special theme for our lives, for us. And more than, in Spiritism, they teach us so much on that. So looking forward to this and being with all of you and ask for God's grace for all of us. And boa noite a todos, ou boa tarde. É um prazer estar de volta com vocês, como sempre, pedindo as bênçãos de Deus para nós, para o nosso programa hoje. E feliz de estar junto novamente. Obrigada.
Good evening, everyone. Dear friends, it's a great, great joy once again to be here together. And it's a special topic, one of the most wonderful topics in the world that you can put our attention, can converse, talking about in order really to understand the importance, to put in practice, and to know more about moral law. So now I invite you all to chat, to write, to suggest, to be with us, to spread the word, the link, so more people in English language can really be with us. So now, thank you for your presence. And the benefactors are surrounding us, surrounding you, in order you can learn together. So good evening, my friends. Here's Charles, Rodrigo, Stevan, Silvia, and the benefactors. Thank you.
You can go, Charlie. Okay, I'll go first. So, hi, everyone. So, thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you. Hopefully, we can provide you with lots of good thoughts, good reflections about this wonderful topic of moral, which is extremely important for us as humans and driving our progress. And our main, let's say, one of the topics that we need to put our main efforts in order to progress as a spirit. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Hola, mis amigos, bienvenidos todos a más un programa con nosotros. Os agradezco mucho la oportunidad de estar aquí con vosotros. Espero que poder proveer a vosotros con reflexiones, con pensamientos, para que podamos comprender las leyes morales, estas que son importantísimas para nuestro progreso en esta vida. Pues muchas gracias y os invito a todos a chatear con nosotros, a escribir, a participar con nosotros aquí, porque esto es una charla y queremos que todos participen. Muchas gracias.
Bonjour à tous, bonsoir, dépendant où vous êtes dans le monde et à quelle heure vous assisterez cette vidéo. Très heureux d'être de nouveau parmi vous ce soir pour parler des lois morales. Et oui, qu'est-ce que c'est que les lois morales? Aïe, 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 la morale, on n'aime pas toujours trop entendre parler de morale, mais bon, on va voir que ça fait partie justement des lois de la nature. Hello everyone, very happy to be here again with you tonight. To share some thoughts about the moral laws. Not always we are happy to hear about morality and so on, But let's see. We will see that in fact it's one of the law of nature and the key to our happiness.
Okay, great. Introduction done. And I will play our short video as always, and then we will start to talk about it. So let me put it here, my screen. But before the screen, I want to say good night to Antonia Rodrigues Chacon, Nancy Valente, Beatriz Guiles, Bianca Ortega, Ruben de los Santos. Muito obrigado. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you. So let me put it here.
A peaceful world is in reach. It is hard to believe, but we can do it. What a beautiful gift you bestow upon us, the gift of life. We are all evolving. We are a part of the divine and continuous progress. May I always remember to treasure this school called Earth. May always remember that all we need is love and understanding, especially in these difficult times. Lasts forever. Neither happiness nor sadness. What I need is a clear conscience that I did my best to leave this place better for our future generations. May these dark times be remembered as learning experiences. We are a human race that is still learning how to crawl. God, thank you for being love. Conversations with God, Episode 16. If you feel a connection to this talk and want to know what Spiritism is, subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit akscdanbury.org.
American.
So wonderful. I just want to check if everything is okay because some people saying my screen is frozen. So can you hear me, guys? It's fine.
We can hear you, but you are frozen in space and time.
Yeah, probably I don't know. For me, it's okay. I can see you clearly. But anyway, let's keep going without any delay. At least you can hear my voice. So, I when I was searching for the moral laws, I found a wonderful description from Emmanuel. Emmanuel is the spiritual guide from the medium Chico Xavier, and I will just read because for me it's priceless. And this we can find in the book Life and the Way. When Kant speaks about the moral law, he's essentially referring to the sense of obligation to which our will often responds. We all know the experience. We are sometimes pulled in a certain direction, not because we desire to act in that way, but in spite of our desire to act in the opposite way. This pull is toward that moral sense which Kant believes each of us has, in virtue of being rational and free. It is conscious. Actually, it's deeper than conscious because our conscious can be mistaken. Conscious arises because of certain structure of human consciousness. The moral law is not given to us from outside. Kant does not associate the moral law with what God commands, nor with civil law, nor with society recommends. The moral law is nothing other than rational will, the will which is entirely devoted to our guided by impartially and universally of reason. The nature of reason itself is universal. This is made most clear in logic, in mathematics, and in science. We look for universal laws by which the universe is guided. Well, so in practical affairs of human moral existence. Therefore, to obey the moral law is nothing else than to obey the basic structure and drive of a human reason that is in each and every person. And that is also the source of a human freedom and autonomy. The source of the moral law is us. It is human nature, human freedom, human reason. This is wonderful. Emmanuel is Emmanuel. Anywhere, anytime. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. So, in order to start our study today, let's go to France. And my dear friend Charles, what's moral law?
Wow. That's quite simple, short, but large question, isn't it? What is moral law? Basically, according to the Spiritist body of knowledge, moral laws are part of the natural laws, the law of nature. These laws of nature are also called laws of God or divine laws because since God has created the nature, law of nature and law of God is basically the same. So whether I use one or the other wording, it means the same thing. And moral laws, as you told correctly, Stevan, is the title. The Spirit's book is composed of 4 books. Book first, second, third, and fourth. And the book third is entitled The Moral Laws. So it's a quarter, more or less, of the Spirit's book, which is talking about these moral laws. And basically, we can then look a little bit into the Spirit's book, question 648, for instance. Kardec entered in, okay, it's part of the law of nature, but what more? And he's saying in the question 617, sorry, in the comment, he's saying, among the divine or natural laws, some regulate the movements and workings of inert matter. These are the physical laws, and studying them belongs to the domains of science, physics, chemical, and so on. These are then the physical laws. Other especially concerns humans and their relations with God and their fellow beings, encompassing the rules of life, of the body and the soul. And these are what are called the moral laws by Allan Kardec in the Spirit's book. So this subject is so important that he dedicated 1/4 more or less of the Spirit's book only for them. And in the question 648, he's asking, what do you think of the division of the natural law into 10 parts covering the laws of worship, labor, reproduction, preservation, destruction, society, progress, equality, liberty, and lastly, the law of justice, love, and charity. So he has somehow divided these moral laws into 10 different laws, like law of liberty, for instance, that we could develop in one of the life. I think we did already. and we could enter in details in each of those. So this shows how vast this subject is. And so it can seem, okay, complex. It's complex. Okay, our understanding of the law of nature is depending on our degree of evolution. If we don't understand the law of nature, how can we know what are the laws of nature? And but there is some hint Kardec is also giving in the question 621 of the Spirit's book. He's asking, where is God's law or divine law or natural laws written? And the spirits are simply answering in the conscience. Very short answer, but which is also full of meaning. And here again, the mankind awareness and conscience is also depending on its degree of evolution. I think we told already in the past lives that the liberty, the awareness, the conscience, all these faculties are developing according to the evolution of the mankind. Today, the mankind has reached quite a significant progress, in particular for the physical things, material things, which has the physical laws, but not yet so much into the moral laws. So you see a lot of people, we still have what we so-called no morality. They have no conscience of doing things badly and so on. There are even some psychological troubles which are characterized by this unconsciousness of what the people are doing bad to other people and so on. So it is something which comes with evolution, but sooner or later it will come. And Kardec also gave, he was asking, okay, but these people who are simple, who don't yet have their awareness of the law of nature developed, how can they have an easy way to understand? For instance, do they have an example? And that is then the question 625 of the Spirit's book, which is also very well known. What is the perfect standard that God has offered us, humankind, to serve as guide and model for the moral laws? And the answer is very short, only 3 words in English, 1 word in Portuguese and 2 words in French, is look at Jesus. Jesus is really, how to say, when we look to his behavior, not all what is told about him or whatsoever, but look to the behavior, helping always the others and so on. So his example of life and of attitude, his natural leadership by serving all the people around him, including the apostles, is really an excellent example also, which can serve us as a reference for trying to comply with this moral law. In case of doubt, we could ask ourselves, what would Jesus do in my place in this situation? And that is also helping us to find the right way. Then look, Jesus is, of course, this does, question 625 does not mean exclusivity, by far not, because Jesus came in Israel in 2000 years ago, but there were many other people or missionaries who came like him, bringing these teachings wherever in the world, in different languages, different places, different cultures, and so on. And when we examine the root of these teachings, we see that there is a big consistency amongst them. And this is, again, stressing into this direction of considering that the moral laws are part of the laws of nature, because the laws of nature are the same for everyone, and they do not change along the time. They are fixed, immutable, like God himself is immutable. He does not change. Yes, so I don't know where to start, where to stop, because there is so many things to tell about this. But okay, let's try to tell a little bit more. What definition may be given for the morality? For instance, Kardec asked also in the question 629 of the Spirit's book. And the Spirit answered, morality is the rule of good conduct. In other words, it is the ability to distinguish between good and evil. It is founded on the observance of God's or natural's law. humans behave correctly, when they do everything for the good of all, and then they obey God's law. And then Kardec again asked the question, okay, but how can we distinguish between good and evil? Question 630. And look at the answer that the Spirit gave. God is everything that is everything that is in harmony with God's law, whereas evil is everything that deviates from it. Thus, doing what is good conforms to God's law, while doing evil infringes on it. In other words, the referential between good and evil is not what the Pope said or what is written in such and that book or book of spirit or what Kardec said or whatever. It is what is in harmony with the natural law. And evil is all what is not in harmony with natural laws. So the referential again is something which is universal and accepted by everyone, natural's law. And good, see, the definition of good and evil, which is closely linked to these moral laws, is exactly that from this referential. Okay, I think I will have to stop slowly but surely. So people are doing good or evil, and of course, as per the free will, the evil is coming from the free will of the humankind. Since we have the free will, we can freely select between good and evil. So that is where the evil is coming from on the earth. It's not something which is somehow allowed or whatever by God or whatsoever. Or no, it's simply due to our free will. This law of free will, which is determining our evolution when we are using it on the right side. This is giving the explanation why there is evil here on the earth. Okay, what can I say more to answer your question? I think I will stop here to leave also some place for my colleagues, because we are 5 today. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Wonderful, Charles. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I know you had like 10 minutes to summarize our entire book, but anyway, let's. But we throughout the coming shows, we're gonna slice this in many parts. And Thais Gimbernal, she wrote something very, very important. Moral are the rules, tools we choose to use to guide your conducts, that defines our character and help us to make our decisions in life. It stays between character and choices. Well done, Thais. Very, very good. Well done. And based on that, now let's go to Spain and ask my friend here, Mr. Ortega, what's necessary to fulfill our moral obligations?
Wow. So thank you for the question. And Thais mentioned something very important: choice. Choice has all to do with that. So before we go to that, I'll try to read the question 918 of the Spirit's book. It says, Spirit proves its progress when all the actions of its corporeal life consist in practicing the law of God, and when it understands the spirit life beforehand. That reminds me something that Emmanuel said. I think we are uh, constantly living in the ignorance of our spiritual life. And that's very important. I'll be coming next to that point, because we are surrounded by matter. And this is something that plays against, but in favor of our progress. And I'll be developing about that. So I think first thing, so it says here that the progress is when all the actions in our corporal life consist in practicing the law of God. And as Charlie said, law of God. What is the law of God? The law of God are the laws which rules the universe and to maintaining our harmony in the universe. And it's needed for happiness. So it's in the question 614. It's the Spirit says that God's law is needed or are needed for our happiness. Without that, we don't find happiness. Okay? So I think, first of all, we need to understand what moral is. And I think Charles has provided this answer as well. So it's the rule of the good conduct. Okay? So, and it's written in our conscience. But the Spirit says that we forgot and disregard it. Why? Because then it comes to the matter side. So we are in our life, we are surrounded by the matter and the influence the matter has upon us. And this is the proof we need to face. And the Spirit said that we need to pass through this to develop our desire or our ability to not to link to the matter, but to link to the, or to learn how to live in spirit. Okay? So matter exercises in us or influence us in our, how can I say, in our pride, in our selfishness, in our individualism. Okay? And this is a very important point, because when we go to the question 632 of the Spirit's book, then the Spirit, they mention the quote of Jesus, who said, "Do to others what you would like them to do to you." So that's very important, because that drives mostly what we need to do to fulfill our moral obligations. And then in Mark 12, 30, 31, so Jesus says, what summarizes all the laws: love God with all your heart and your neighbor as yourself. Okay? So then I'll come back to that, because in the chapter 10 of this 10 moral laws that we have in the third part of the Spirit's book, it says that the summary of all moral laws is justice, love, and charity. It's combined, all of these three. And then after having explained what is moral, know how the Spirit proves its progress, which is based on the law of God, and the moral laws are based on the law of God. I'll tell you that the first thing for us to fulfill our moral obligation is to comprehend it. So, as the Spirit said, so we have it in our conscience, but we forgot it. And the Spirit says that we need to put effort to comprehend it. So I think when the Spirit says about our conscience, it's because in many parts of the Spirit's book, it says that we can put our reason, our thoughts, we have the capacity to understand it when we put our interest to do that. So then it's when we comprehend it. So comprehension of the moral laws is very important. Where we find a good comprehension about moral laws, it's easy. Go to gospel. So Jesus, as Charlie said, so the Spirit said already that Jesus is the model for morality. So if we have doubts about what do I need to do, how I need to behave to fulfill my moral obligations, and I want to understand which are my moral obligations, I go to the gospel. In the gospel, Jesus left us all the guide for us to do that. And not only he left us the guidance, the perfect guidance for us to do that and safe, but he proved that this is possible. Because Many people say that it's pretty hard because what Jesus did was pretty difficult because it's very, let's say, a developed spirit. But he said that we could do what he did. So that it's just a matter of doing it, putting our efforts. And then it comes to the second requirement to fulfill our moral obligations, which is the willpower to educate our free will. So God gave us the free will. So the capacity to choose, as Thais said. So that comes to the point. So our capacity to make our choices. So if we know which are the moral laws, knowing it is not enough. Because if we don't put our actions according to that, it serves for nothing. It's useless. In Spiritism, we, and the spirits, they brought us our salvation as an active salvation. So it's not a passive salvation. So we are responsible for saving ourselves. And let's understand the salvation as the progress of our spirit, which will be finding our happiness after we progress with that. So that's an active salvation. While many other religions, they like gives us, or they tell us that the contemplation, I mean the relationship with God is important, which we are not saying which is not important. It's extremely important, but it's not enough, because we need to do our part on that, and we need to act on that. We need to understand the moral laws, and we need to put in practice that moral laws. How we do that? We need to educate our free will. We need to educate and to put efforts to that. It's not easy. We know that. We all know that. We say, people tend to say, "Oh, this person is a spiritist, so he's perfect because he knows all this," and it's not like that. So we know, but we are so imperfect, let's say this way, as any one of us, because knowing the way, it doesn't mean that we are following that way. So that's why we need to train and we need to educate our willpower. That's when we recognize the real spiritist. No, the Kardec said so. The real, or the true spiritist is the one who put effort to do the right thing. And that's when we are. That's the second part of the what's needed to fulfill our moral obligations. Train, putting willpower to educate our free will. So the third, not less important, the courage to act morally. Why I'm saying that? Because we are living in a world where if we choose to act according to the moral of Jesus, according to God's law, we are going against the wave. So in the stage we are currently in the world, on earth, we are not still moved to the new stage that we are going to, regeneration world. We are still proof and expiation. So we are moving, if we choose to follow the moral laws, we are moving against the wave. And that requires courage, because we will be faced in many circumstances in our life that will be, how can I say, tempted to do the opposite. That's the matter influence, which we need to put our willpower to resist to that. And that's not easy. That requires a lot of courage. So look what happened with Jesus. So it requires a lot of courage to do that. So courage, not only the action, we need to put action. And when we talk about action, it reminds me Paul, because Paul said the three virtues, the three main virtues we should have: faith, hope, and charity. So faith is important because when we have faith, we trust God, we trust we are doing the right thing. Independently of what others will be saying about that, we are doing the right thing. And we need to keep steadily. We need to go and, let's say, be brave to do that because we have faith, we trust God, and we know that the what we'll be getting as a praise for that is not here. And that's what we need to, how we need to use our faith. Second, hope. Hope that we'll be getting something better. So we'll be receiving back somehow the good we do. And then charity. Why charity? I'll go to the question 893 of the Spirit's book. The biggest virtue, the Spirit says, that we should have, the greatest merit, is the most disinterested charity. So, charity is the action of loving. So, and the spirits are saying so, if we want to practice the law of God and to fulfill our moral obligations, the biggest thing we should do to do it is to practice charity. Why? Because charity is when we do good to others. When we do good to others, we are doing good to us. Happiness is only possible when it's for everyone, not for just ourselves. So then I will come back to what Jesus said in Mark 12, 30, 31. Love God with all your heart and your neighbor as yourself. So we need to love us, we need to love others, and we need to love God. By doing that, we'll make everyone happy. When we make everyone happy, we are fulfilling what God expects from us, which is take care of what I gave to all of you. Take care of my creation, and then you will be happy. So I think that summarizes, in my opinion, what's needed to fulfill our moral obligations, Stevan.
Well done. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. A lot of beautiful insights. I recommend everyone to to watch again, make her notes, because it's full of wonderful insights here today. And now we're going to another wonderful insight. My dear Gibbons, we saw
Hello.
what is moral law. Again, as I said, always here, you are I like to make the easiest question to you. Okay?
No, yeah.
And here go some tips to you. So we saw we heard what Emmanuel says about moral laws. Charles gave a wonderful explanation what it is moral laws. Rodrigo gave us a wonderful explanation about how to fulfill these moral laws. And you, how to measure our responsibility when we needed to say, okay, now it's on me, it's not in anybody else.
Well, I think between the two of them, all the questions have been answered, and more than better explained than I could put it. But I think in relation to how our responsibility is measured, how we measured, I think it, quoting again, for Rodrigo did repeat it a few times, basically is what Jesus said: love God and love your neighbor as yourself. And basically, he said, do to others as you would they would do to you. I think one of the important things, I think everything that we can do can be measured on this, in the words of Jesus. Whatever ye that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. And if you do that, then we can measure. Is the only way we can measure how we live, how we behave. Because if we are unhappy the way people treat us, or if they are inconsiderate, or if they are dismissing of us or humiliating, how do we feel? So we don't like to be treated like that. So we don't like to treat we should not treat others the same way either. And I think this is a very, very important point. And there is things as well, I think, that in the Spirit's book, they say, God has given us the intelligence to choose and to choose what's right and what's wrong is within us. Like Charles said, in our conscience, it's the laws are there. I don't think we forgot them. I think we ignored them because it's something that's God given, and we just dismiss it. How many times, I don't know, maybe it happens to me, to other people, but there are things that sometimes I'm doing or saying, and I know, because I hear that voice saying, maybe you're going a little far there, just stop or think in a different way. And I completely ignore it and I go on with it. So I don't think it's forgotten. I think we just don't care to listen to it. We ignore it. And also, I think what it says, we are made simple and ignorant in a sense that we have no knowledge. And we grow through the experience of life, going through many, many lives on earth and going to the spiritual world. There is a process of learning. And within that, we are giving within the learning that we have, we are giving the opportunity to make the choices. And sometimes we make choices because we are willing to do that. I think in one of the questions, can't remember exactly now, I think it was 632, when he says, but man have failed. And I think Charles mentioned it as well. Men are failing and they make mistakes, and more or less says, can't we forgive them, and why God made them the way they are? And I think the answer from the Spirit is so clear, so objective, and there is no, or maybe they said that, or maybe there is no room for interpretation, because it's very concise and objective, and it says, God made us simple and ignorant to learn, and God has given us intelligence to make the choice. So when we make wrong choices, it's because we're willing to make the wrong choices. It's not on God's, it's our own choice. And I think this, one of the beautiful things about this and about God giving us free will to choose, because I think ultimately we don't have free will as such, because no matter how long does it take, there is only one path to go. It's the path towards God. I think there is one of the questions in the Spirit's book that they ask, all men will be enlightened. And the answer from the Spirit is like always, one, it's your destiny. It's your destiny. You cannot avoid it. And within this, we have a free will to do this and to do that. But eventually, we have to go in the path of God, because I think it's like the salmon. The salmon go out, they are born, they're sperm, and they're born, and they go down the river into the ocean. And they always will return to the river where they were born. to spurn again and to die or to be fished out or whatever. And I think we are like the salmon. We will go back to the source. We will have to go back to God. And the time that it takes is up to us. Isn't it? If we make the good choices, we know good and evil. We know what we can do. But I think one of the wonderful things as well is that God gives us the experience, because we made a mistake. If we become aware of it, we take charge of it and we say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I am going to be different. I'm going to change, and we're going to make a difference. And that's how it is. And I think one of the things that Rodrigo said as well is that helping people is the way to do it. It's when we make the people around us happy, we'll be happy, because other people, we cannot be happy, we cannot be contented if everyone around us is miserable. That's why I think the question of being, making the life of others easy, make our lives easier and our path as well better. And it's interesting because, when you read the books of André Luiz, especially with the world, the life in the spiritual world, how many times you see people who did an act of charity, maybe because, he himself, he gives an example that he used to see people, I think every Thursday, poor people who could not afford, because he was a doctor, he was a medical doctor. And just because he wanted to show people that he was doing some good, and he used to see poor people in his surgery every Thursday or something. But then you see, when he goes into the spiritual world, he meets someone who is there. I think it's a lady, and she used to come to him, and he saw her, he helped her, he gave her medicine and everything. And when she went to the spiritual world, she used to pray for him, for that doctor who helped her. And I think sometimes he had no idea, but that her prayers helped him when he was lost. It was one of the things that gave the sustenance to him to go on. And I think sometimes that's what the consequence, when we do good, our path is cleared because people are praying for us, are giving us opportunities. So I think, our path is light. Our path is going to meet God. And our responsibility is measured by the way we treat others. And be grateful, actually, as well. I'm just finalizing now, Elsa. I don't want to go on too long. But just be grateful for our life, grateful for the experiences. Sometimes, there are things that happen in our lives that are very hard, very painful, very difficult. We have to face many, many problems and obstacles, but those are the richest time of our lives. It's when we learn the most. It's when we enrich ourselves, because with that comes learning. And I think to be grateful to God and to be grateful to all the people that are put in our path, those who make our lives harder and those who help us, and to be grateful for everything. And I think that's how we measure by what we do to others and how grateful we are. Like the blind, the lepers, the story of Jesus with the 10 lepers, and then they're far away, they scream, they call Jesus and said, please, Lord, please, Rabbi, if you can help us, if you want, you can heal us. And he said, I do want it. And you are healed. And then he says, go and show yourself to the priest. And from the 10 people, only one comes back. And I think he was a Samaritan. He comes back and says to Jesus, thank you. You helped me. I want to follow. He said, no, go to your family, And I think to be that one who comes back and say, thank you, Jesus, and thank you, God, and thank you, whoever it is, and make sure that we always say how much we love people around us and how much their friendship is worthy and how much we care to have them in our lives. That's it. Sorry, I think I went on a bit too long.
I think o Stevan está no mute.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so...
We can't see you, though.
Yeah,
you're not frozen anymore.
While we were talking, I was trying to fix that, but I couldn't. But anyway, at least you can hear me. So we have some points here. By the way, Silvia, thank you very much for call us for our responsibility. And our friend here, Juan Pablo, he's saying, we are spiritists because deep down we are the most needed. Jesus did not seek for the wise or the rich, and the spirituality for the mission of the diffusion of spiritualism does not do so either. Thank you, my friend. Thais, another contribution from Thais here. To love God is to trust the process. To love ourselves is to accept who we are and be truly happy with that. And only by loving ourselves we can love others completely. It's a hard thing to do. Thais, I think we can we can apply here a nice quote. We cannot make an omelette without breaking the eggs. So if you want an omelette, we need to break the eggs. It's hard to do, but you are completely right. We need to trust God. We need to love ourselves. We need to accept the challenges and fulfill our our bad inclinations, and get rid of this. Talking about bad inclinations, my dear Elsa, what are the characteristics of a good man?
Thank you, Stevan. It is really wonderful to listen. Today is deep, good information comes now that we should listen again. And to summarize end of our meeting, I will speak quickly about the passage that we have in our Gospel, chapter 17, item 3, that is really brings what you asked me right now, characteristics of the good person, okay, or good man or woman, and says, the truly good person is one who complies with the laws of justice, love, and charity in their highest degree of purity. The good person is always good, humane, and benevolent with everyone without distinction as to race or creed, because they see all men and women as brothers and sisters. If they examine their conscience concerning their own actions, they will ask themselves if they have violated those laws or if they have practiced any evil and if they have done all the good that was possible. Yet again, they will ask themselves if they have voluntarily disregarded any occasion to be useful, or if anyone has any complaint to make against them, and finally, if they have done to others everything that they would wish done to themselves. They deposit in their faith in God, in His goodness, in His justice, and His wisdom. They know that without His permission, nothing can happen. Therefore, they submit themselves to His will in all things. So, this chapter, we have probably 2 pages entirely descriptions with the good person, should be. And the finalize says, yet, here are some of characteristics of the good person. But for me, the good person is the one that always is in balance, equilibrium between God, between humans, applying all the laws that we have in nature and follow the rules to be really a good charitable person towards others. So this brings happiness inside our hearts when we try our best to follow, to put in practice the moral laws, charity, justice, and love. So means that we have everything in our hands. It's difficult, maybe, we can do it, of course, but we have to try it. At least be responsible for any action that we are applying in the world against or pros or cons other people. So now, my friends, if you want to read the Gospel according to Spiritism and the Spirit's book, both have this lesson entirely description there, and you can tick. Oh, I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Oh, I have to do that. It's looking like a jigsaw, a puzzle that you have to mark and see how many points you have in favor of you, in favor of us. So thank you very much, Stevan. So plenty of time to to think about. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. Okay, so today we had a lot of friends here. Elsa from Stockholm, as we said here. Ruben from Uruguay, Bianca here, police, be afraid. Okay. So yeah, our dear Vanessa Saloni was watching us. It is watching us. So good to have her here with us. Thais with her beautiful insights today. Thank you very much. You just made our job today easy here, my friend. Thank you. Juan Pablo, very good congratulations as well. Nancy Valente from Italy. It's wonderful. So people all around the world, it's amazing to to be here. Denise Stewart as well. So uh,
Elsa, I like the way you said, go there, make all the points, what I'm doing. What
exactly. Now you
have I
have to.
achieved? Going to
Make
make
a
that
quiz.
list.
A quiz. You can make a list. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Okay. So go to our announcements. I'm put it here. So our next show it's about the law of destruction under the spiritist view. It's next Wednesday, 19th of January at 9 p.m. London time. On every 2 weeks on Tuesdays, we have Time to Talk show, conversations on mediumship with Guilherme Dias and Rafael Caldas. It's a wonderful show, and you cannot miss it as well. And that's a brand new show. Is a brand new like coffee break we have every Wednesday. Every Wednesday 4 p.m. With our dear friend Munir Gariba. Is a golf break with Kardec, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes talk. Is a time to have a
15,
coffee.
15 minutes. Wonderful today was 4 o'clock. It's still there.
Yes, yeah. Today I was wonderful as well. Yeah. So please don't miss this. And also pencil in your agenda. On April 2022, we will have the first World Spiritist Month. More than 40 countries united. Oh, how many? You're
37.
27,
37.
37. Okay. Nearly 40. Okay. Countries talking about spiritism, giving their contribution. And also, this will be translated into English, into Spanish, into Portuguese. So we are here to listen, everyone, in April. Okay, it's about like his entire week with explanations and presentations. Okay, and that's it for us today. I want to say thank you all for everything. Thank you for your inputs. Thank you, Bailey Homer from Florida, my friend. Thank you, Bailey. And thank you, Rodrigo. I can't wait to see you again next month with your wonderful insights as well. Mr. Kempf, be brave. Okay, Miss Gibbons, hang on there.
Bye. God
And Miss
bless.
Rossi,
Thank
stay
you.
stay up firm and
Cheerio,
firm there.
everyone.
Okay? Thank you
Bye.
all. Have a
Thank you,
nice
everyone.
night rest of the week. Enjoy
Bonsoir à tous.
your rest of the
Obrigado.
day. Thank you. Bye bye.
Let's
Bye.
see.
Cheerio. Ta-ta.
Thank you,
Bye.
Lucas.
Bye.
Bye bye.